Alright, let's get started. You're going to want a digital scale. For this video, all of my measurements will be in grams. Next, you're going to want an active starter. This starter was fed about 20 hours ago, so it has peaked and since then gone down, which I prefer to get a better rise of my dough. Here is my preferred bread flour. As long as it's unbleached, it should work. For one loaf, you'll start with 350 grams of filtered water. Then add in your active starter, anywhere between 50 to 80 grams of starter. You'll know it's active because you'll see it float to the top. For the sweeter loaves, I do like to keep it under 100 grams because this will proof faster than any of the other loaves you typically make. Now add in 500 grams of your bread flour, then your salt and sugar. Here it is your preference. I personally added 8 grams of salt and then I went back to add 2 grams of sugar. You can do 5 grams of each if you'd like. You can do more sugar. Bottom line, they both have to equal out to no more than 10 grams. I like my loaf less sweet. Put it all together and mix. And eventually it should look like this. Here I'll transfer it to my preferred bowl and leave it alone for about an hour. This is what it looks like after an hour, and I start my first set of stretch and folds. Just grab the outside, pull it up, and bring it down to the middle. Here I'll start my second set of stretch and folds. Now a third set. Now we zest. You're going to want to zest at least 3 lemons. I like to do this in between my stretch and folds, just so on my last stretch and fold, I can incorporate the blueberry and the lemon zest. This is what it should look like after 3 lemons. Now we'll add some blueberries. You're going to want 1 cup of blueberries per loaf. On my 4th stretch and fold, I am going to add the lemon zest and then the blueberries. Begin your last stretch and fold to incorporate the blueberry and lemon together. It should look like this. I'm actually adding in a few coils just to make sure that it gets evenly distributed. Now, after 4 sets of stretch and folds, which were 30 minutes apart, that equals to 2 hours and 4 hours on top of that just to bulk ferment. This is what my dough looks like after it's all done. Now I'm ready to roll out the dough, laminate it, and put in cream cheese and sugar. Gently stretch it out without bursting any of the air bubbles that happen during bulk fermentation. Here is where I started adding the cream cheese filling. What I should have done is actually left the cream cheese outside to get to room temperature because it is a little hard to spread it out evenly when it is still cold and clumpy. Here I'm just sprinkling in the sugar on top of the cream cheese. I added roughly 2 tablespoons of sugar. Avoid putting cream cheese on the edges, just so it's easier to fold these edges in. I like to add more filling before I roll this again. And a little more sugar. Now grab the bottom piece closest to you and start to roll that away. Kind of like a burrito, you're also going to want to bring in the outer edges as you roll it away. Set this down looking like a log and roll it away once more. Grab your banneton or basket and make sure that it's pre-floured before you put in your dough. This will be sticky since it is a sweet loaf. This is what it looks like after it's been in the fridge overnight, cold proofing. I would say about 10 hours at this point. Now make your design or don't. The most important part is that you make one single score that will help your loaf rise and expand. During this, you would have wanted to preheat your oven at 450 degrees with the empty Dutch oven inside for at least an hour. Once you're ready to put your dough, that will stay at 450 for 36 minutes and an additional 10 minutes without the lid at 425 degrees. This is what my bread looks like. Right here, I am adding a honey lemon glaze just to give it a nice color and a sweeter outer shell. After sitting about an hour, I'm ready to cut into it to take a look at the crumb. And there it is. I would have wanted a bigger crumb and a better rise, but it did overproof given that it had sugar. Here are the final pictures. I have made this a couple more times since then. I'm still learning and I can't wait to make more bread.